The words hit me like a slap. Not even a slap, like someone punched the air out of my lungs. You stole my mother's dream. That's what my husband, Daniel, screamed at me the moment I walked through the door with the biggest smile of my life. I had just bought my dream, a dream I had worked for since before I even knew what marriage, responsibility, or betrayal meant. I stood there frozen, keys in my hand, still smelling the fresh paint of the restaurant I had just signed for. His voice rose even louder. My mom deserves that restaurant, not you. My hands shook. My heartbeat rang in my ears. I whispered, Daniel, what are you talking about? But deep down, something inside me already knew. This was the moment everything in my life was about to change. Long before I ever met Daniel, I had a dream, a tiny dream born in a tiny kitchen. I grew up in a small apartment with old wooden cabinets and a stove that clicked 3 times before lighting. My grandmother lived with us, and she was the heart of our home. She made the most amazing food that didn't just taste good, but felt good. She always said, "A restaurant doesn't start with recipes. It starts with love." When I was 10, I used to stand on a little stool to help her stir the pot. When I was 15, I was taking notes on her techniques. When I was 18, I wrote in my diary, "One day I will own a restaurant filled with warmth like Grandma's kitchen." And so I worked. College job, cafe waitress. Weekend job, dish cleaner. Evening job, kitchen assistant. I saved every dollar for years. No makeup, no fancy shoes, no trips, no luxury. Every birthday gift to myself was a cooking tool. Every holiday was spent trying new recipes. By the time I turned 30, I had saved enough to start looking, and then I met Daniel. The promises that became lies. He was charming, kind, supportive, at least in the beginning. I still remember the first time I told him my dream. He cupped my face and said, "I will stand by you. One day, when you open your restaurant, I'll be your biggest fan." I believed him. I believed everything. His mother, however, was a different story. She never liked that I had dreams. She wanted a daughter-in-law who would cook for her son, clean the house, and be grateful. It happened on a Thursday morning. My bus passed by Bella's Garden, a beautiful little restaurant known for its flower-themed decor and handmade recipes. The place had been around for 20 years, but today, a sign hung in the window. For sale. Contact owner. I felt electricity run through my entire body. I got off at the next stop and ran back. When I stepped inside, my heart melted. The place smelled like fresh bread and lavender. Sunlight spilled through the windows. It felt like home. The elderly owner, Bella herself, walked over with a soft smile. "I'm retiring," she said, "and I want someone who will love this place like I have." I told her about my dream, my grandmother, my years of saving, everything. She looked at me and said, "Then maybe you're the one I've been waiting for." The agreement of my life. I made the offer. She accepted. I went home floating with joy. But Daniel didn't share the excitement. "Why didn't you ask me first?" he said coldly. "I did," I replied gently. "You knew I was trying to buy it." He just shrugged. The next day, I signed the contract. Bella hugged me and handed me the keys. It was the happiest moment of my life. But the celebration never happened. I decorated the house, bought Daniel's favorite dessert, cooked a fancy dinner. When Daniel came home, He didn't smile. He didn't congratulate me. He didn't hug me. He just threw his bag on the table and said, "We need to talk." What came after that nearly shattered me. "My mom wanted that place," Daniel shouted. "She's dreamed of opening a bakery for years." I stared at him, stunned. "Daniel, your mom never even visited that restaurant, and she never mentioned wanting to buy it." "She didn't mention it because it was supposed to be a surprise," he argued. It made no sense. None. Then he said the words that broke my heart. "My mom deserves that restaurant, not you." I felt tears burning my eyes. "I worked for this dream my whole life," I whispered. But he didn't care. He stormed out. The next morning was worse. His mother came to our house like a storm. She screamed, "How dare you? You knew I wanted that restaurant. You should have asked me before buying it. You stole from me." I stood there trembling. "With respect," I said softly, "I didn't buy it to steal anything. I bought it because it's my dream." She pointed a shaking finger at me. "You are just a daughter-in-law. You should have asked permission." Permission? For my own dream? For something I saved for my whole life? I tried to keep calm, but inside, I felt like breaking. The days that followed, Daniel refused to speak to me for 4 days. Meanwhile, I went to the restaurant every morning. I cleaned the floors, painted the walls, fixed the garden outside, repaired old tables, installed new lights, tested dozens of recipes. I worked morning to night, alone, and cried when no one was watching. Opening day. When the restaurant opened, I felt like my grandmother was standing beside me smiling. But Daniel wasn't there. His mother wasn't there. No family. Just customers. Strangers who loved the food, praised the decor, took pictures, left big tips. The place began filling every day. People said things like, "This place feels like home. Your food tastes like love. I'll bring my whole family next time." Then something happened that blew everything open. The viral review. A well-known food blogger visited secretly. 2 days later, she posted, "This restaurant is full of soul. The owner cooks like someone who healed through food." Her video went viral. Crowds lined up outside. The restaurant became the place everyone wanted to visit. And then, Daniel came back. He walked in with flowers. "I'm sorry, I was stressed. I didn't mean anything I said." But his eyes weren't looking at me. They were looking at the customers, at the money, at the success. That's when I saw the truth. He didn't want me. He wanted the restaurant, wanted the profits, wanted control over something he didn't build. The truth came out eventually. Daniel confessed that his mother wanted the restaurant so that he could run it, so that they could keep the business in their family, so that I would work there like a servant while they took the credit and money. They never cared about the dream. They cared about control. The day I finally stood up for myself, Daniel came home one evening and said, "My mom and I talked. We think you should put the restaurant under my name. It will be safer." I felt something inside me break and then rebuild stronger. "No," I said firmly. "This restaurant is mine. My dream, my work, my years, my struggle, mine." He looked shocked. His mother later called me ungrateful, but I stood my ground. The end of us. Daniel packed his clothes slowly. "You're choosing a building over your husband?" he said. I looked at him with steady eyes. "No, I'm choosing myself over people who never supported me." He left, and I didn't stop him. My new life. Months passed. The restaurant grew even bigger. I hired staff, expanded the menu, added community events. started weekend brunches, and even introduced recipes from my grandmother's handwritten notes. People came from other towns just to experience the warmth of the place. I became known not just as a restaurant owner, but as a woman who rebuilt her life from courage, not fear. And every night when I turned off the lights, I whispered, I didn't steal anyone's dream. I protected my own. The real lesson: a dream doesn't need permission. A dream doesn't need approval. A dream doesn't need support from those who refuse to give it. A dream needs only one thing: your belief. And that belief saved me.